So we're going to get started. We have 9 talks this evening, all of them, I think, really, really interesting ideas. And we are going to start with Esra Dogrmaci. How'd I do? Esra. 80%, should I work until I get it to 100? All right, if I do 80, then you can do 90 on your talk and you'll still win. How's that? All right, how about it?
Behind me is a trends map of Turkey. Last year, this is the time when Twitter was blocked in Turkey. Now, it's not uncommon for Turkey to make the worldwide tweets, usually on Twitter, even on a daily basis. But it's not very often that you see these appearing in the news. This has happened a couple of times. For example, this year with the attempted rape and murder of student Özgecan Aslan, and also last year when 301 miners died in the Soma mine accident last year. But what I started to think about was, I don't think this is advancing in 30 seconds, by the way. So I just started thinking, when we see Turkish trends socially and when they appear on the news, do they really warrant the level of coverage that we see in the news? So there's so much fuss about it. Oh, Turkey blocked Twitter, Turkey blocked YouTube, but does it really matter on the ground? And so I started to ask this question: does social media really matter in Turkey? And to answer that, we need to go back to 2003, which is the May and June Gezi protests that happened in Istanbul. Now, the reason that became so important is because mainstream media largely failed to cover the protests, so people turned to social platforms to communicate with each other and to organize. So what started out as people writing in Turkish was quickly translated into English, picked up by the international digital media, so to speak, and then started to really get attention. An interesting point, this is going faster than 30 seconds now, so is that in Egypt during Arab Spring time, only 30% of the tweets that were sent were from Egypt, but in Turkey, 90% were from Istanbul. It is really going faster than 30 seconds now. We're still on the other side. I'm just gonna keep talking. So, sorry? So what's going on, peoples? Okay, so anyway, so what I wanted to show you with that map of Istanbul was that Gezi Park and Taksim Square, where the protest took place, is only 0.5 meter squared. So if you were watching mainstream media, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this was happening all over Turkey and all of Turkey was on fire and burning. And that's not the case. And so the previous slide here, which showed you the mathematics, was that in a population of 75 million, half of that population is under the age of 30, which is equivalent to about the number of people online, 35 million. Out of that 35 million, 70% of online users are under the age of 30. Out of that, Facebook is the most important social platform, and Twitter is the second. But still, then it's about it's only 6 million of the population. 87% of Twitter followers in Turkey, again, previous slide, are coming from just 3 cities: Istanbul, Ankara, and Izmir. And so with this map, I wanted to kind of have a look and say, okay, well, if all of these tweets and these Twitter users are coming from 3 main cities, does that really reflect what the conversation in Turkey? So this is a 2014 general election returns map, and the yellow is the governing party. So Ankara is in the yellow in the middle, and then Istanbul is kind of split red and yellow with the opposition party, and then Izmir also is opposition as well. And so if you're thinking that all of the Twitter conversation that's going on reflects Turkey, this kind of, with no regressive research and variables and whatnot, shows you that that's not actually the case. There's big swaths of Turkey that are not represented in the Twitter sphere. We can go next slide, please. So the answer is not really. No, it doesn't really represent. But again, there's always caveats to this, so we can skip to the next slide. Okay, so the 2 areas where this really matters is obviously freedom of expression. So there was a new law enacted last year, new internet law, which doesn't just block pages, but it blocks entire sites as well. Along with that comes new restrictions on mobilization and protest. Now, if we go back to the demographics and we're thinking that most of the population is under 30, they're using social media as a means to communicate, and you're taking these 2 very important things away from that Turkish population. How are people going to express themselves? And the second thing is, of course, freedom of the press. So in 2002, Turkey was ranked 99 out of 134 countries in the World Press Freedom Index. In 2015, it was 149 out of 200 countries, representing a 9% drop. drop. That also coincides with the current government, the AK party government led by Erdogan. So even though there's a lot of fuss made about the censorship in Turkey, since 2007, there's only been 7 occasions where social platforms have been blocked. 3 of those have occurred last year. So what I'd ask you, I guess, to take away from this talk would be 2 things. When you do see Turkey trends in the news, ask yourself, does this really represent Turkey? Whenever I go to Turkey, I speak to a wide variety of people, and I try to go into the back streets as much as I can. A lot of people don't even know what Twitter is. They don't know what YouTube is. It's a non-factor in their life. It doesn't matter. And then the second thing, of course, is if we are seeing this conversation, and if it is making headlines, then is it symptomatic of something that's a wider cause or a wider problem? Thank you.
Thank you, Esra. Thank you.